The waves are rising, the winds are changing, and the seas ahead are more dangerous than ever. The Straw Hats are about to set sail into a world where every island hides a secret, every shadow hides an enemy, and every step forward takes them closer to their dreams, but also closer to their greatest challenges yet. This is One Piece Season 2, a journey that will push our heroes beyond their limits, test their courage, and reveal the kind of legends they are meant to become. Season 1 of One Piece gave us the foundation of a story that has inspired millions around the world. We watched a young boy named Monkey D. Luffy set out on the seas with nothing but a straw hat, a rubber body, and a dream that seemed too big for anyone to believe. A dream of becoming the Pirate King. Along the way, he wasn't just collecting crew members, he was building a family. Zoro, the swordsman with unshakable loyalty. Nami, the navigator with a mysterious past. Usopp, the sharpshooter whose lies began to turn into truth. And Sanji, the cook who fights for both flavor and honor. Together, they stood against pirates, marines, and impossible odds, proving that they weren't just adventurers, they were the Straw Hat Pirates, but Season 1 was only the beginning. As the Going Merry sails further into uncharted waters, a much larger world begins to unfold. The Grand Line, a sea that breaks the laws of nature itself. Storms that appear without warning, tides that shift against the wind. Creatures as massive as mountains. And islands where nothing is as it seems. It's a world where pirates don't just chase treasure. They chase destiny. This is where legends are born, and this is where the Straw Hats must prove themselves worthy of carrying their flag into history. Season 2 takes everything we loved about Season 1, the humor, the heart, the action, and raises the stakes higher than ever. This is not just about finding the One Piece anymore. This is about survival in a sea where even the strongest ships can sink in seconds, and where new enemies rise from the waves like nightmares brought to life. It's about loyalty being tested when temptation and betrayal lurk in every port. It's about dreams being challenged, because chasing the impossible always comes with a price. At its core, Season 2 is a story about what happens when the crew moves from being hopeful rookies to becoming real contenders in the pirate world. The Straw Hats will meet allies who will change the way they see themselves, and enemies who will stop at nothing to break them. The laughter will still be there, but so will the pain. The victories will feel sweeter, but the losses will cut deeper. Every step into the Grand Line means risking everything, and Luffy knows that if he wants to be the Pirate King, he has to lead his crew through storms that no map can predict, and this is what makes the upcoming journey so exciting. One Piece has always been more than just a story about pirates. It's a story about chasing your dream, no matter how impossible it seems. It's about facing people who laugh at you, who doubt you, who stand in your way, and proving them wrong with every fight, every tear, and every smile. Season 1 showed us that the Straw Hats were ready to set sail. Season 2 is about proving that they deserve to keep sailing, no matter what stands in their way. So prepare yourself, because this is not just another season. This is a test of strength, of friendship, and of dreams. The seas ahead are waiting, and the adventure of a lifetime is only just beginning. The seas ahead are not like anything the Straw Hats have faced before. The calm waters of East Blue are now far behind them, and every wave pushes them deeper into a world that bends the very rules of nature. This is the Grand Line, a sea of endless mystery, where storms strike without warning, where the sky can turn from sunlight to snow in the blink of an eye, and where the compass itself loses all meaning. This is not just an ocean. It is a living force, unpredictable, merciless, and alive with legends that even the most fearless pirates whisper about in fear. For the Straw Hats, stepping into the Grand Line is like walking through a gate into another reality. Each island is its own world, each with cultures, climates, and dangers unlike the last. Imagine sailing from a land of eternal spring straight into a frozen wasteland. Picture a blazing desert standing right next to a jungle that never sees the sun. Here, logic doesn't guide you, courage does. And courage is something Monkey D. Luffy has never lacked, but this new journey isn't just about the seas or the weather. The Grand Line is home to people and powers far beyond what the Straw Hats have ever known. Pirates who command fleets that darken the horizon. Warlords whose names alone can strike fear into the bravest hearts. And hidden somewhere, across these waters are treasures so great, secrets so ancient that nations would kill to claim them. The Straw Hats aren't just entering new seas. They are entering a battlefield of dreams, where every pirate is chasing their own version of freedom, glory, or power. Season 2 promises to show us what happens when Luffy and his crew step onto this battlefield for the first time. They're not just small-time pirates anymore. They are contenders. Each island they visit will challenge their strength, their trust, and even their belief in themselves. And with every fight, every choice, the world will begin to notice the name Straw Hat. Some will laugh, some will doubt, but others, the dangerous ones, will take it as a threat. And that's what makes this season so exciting. The Grand Line isn't a place you can survive with strength alone. It demands strategy, it demands loyalty, and most of all, it demands unshakable willpower. The enemies here won't just try to break your body. They'll try to break your spirit. But if there's one thing we know about Luffy, it's that his spirit cannot be broken. No storm, no villain, no betrayal has ever been enough to make him stop chasing his dream. And in Season 2, that fire burns brighter than ever. But remember, the Grand Line isn't only filled with danger. It's filled with wonder, too. Strange islands, mythical creatures, and mysteries that stretch back hundreds of years. Secrets about the world itself, secrets tied to the One Piece, and secrets that even the Marines want buried forever. For the Straw Hats, every island isn't just a new challenge, it's a piece of a puzzle, far bigger than any of them realize, and this is what makes their adventure so compelling. It's not just about battles and villains. It's about discovery, about seeing places no one has ever seen, about meeting people who will change their lives forever. Some will become allies, some will become enemies, and some will become legends, whose names echo through history. Every new step into the Grand Line brings them closer to danger, but also closer to their destiny. Season 2 sets the stage for all of this. The Straw Hats are no longer a small crew sailing under the radar. They are players in a game much larger than themselves, a game where the stakes are higher than gold, higher than treasure. The price of losing here isn't just failure, it's death. But the reward? The reward is freedom, the chance to live without chains, and the chance to chase a dream that no one else has ever achieved. So as their ship sails further into the unknown, remember this: the Grand Line doesn't forgive weakness, but it rewards those who never stop fighting. And if there's one thing we know for sure, it's that the Straw Hats will never stop. Their journey has only just begun, and the seas ahead are waiting with storms, battles, and miracles beyond imagination. A pirate crew is only as strong as the people who sail it. And while Luffy's dream may be to become the Pirate King, he knows one truth better than anyone else: no king sails alone. Every adventure, every storm, every impossible fight has reminded the Straw Hats that true strength doesn't come from one person. It comes from the family you build on the seas. And in Season 2, that family is about to grow. The Grand Line isn't just a stage for villains and monsters. It's also a place where powerful allies appear in the most unexpected ways. The Straw Hats' journey will bring them face to face with new characters, each with their own past, their own pain, and their own dreams. Some may not join right away. Some may hesitate, carrying scars of betrayal or burdens they've carried for too long. But one thing is certain: Luffy has a gift that no devil fruit could ever grant. He has the ability to inspire, to turn strangers into comrades, and comrades into family. One of the most exciting parts of Season 2 will be seeing how these new crew members are introduced and how they change the Straw Hat dynamic. Each one brings something the crew desperately needs, not just in terms of skill, but in terms of heart. Think about what we already have. Zoro, the blade that never wavers. Nami, the guiding star who charts their path. Usopp, the spirit of imagination, who makes the impossible sound possible. Sangi, the flame that feeds and protects. Together they've survived seas that should have crushed them, But the Grand Line is different. It demands more. It demands specialists, fighters, and dreamers who can handle the chaos that's about to unfold, and that's exactly what Season 2 delivers. New crew members arrive not as simple additions, but as game changers. Their stories are filled with hardship, with struggles that mirror the very theme of One Piece itself, the pursuit of freedom in a world built on chains. Some of them have been running from their pasts. Some have been dreaming of a future no one believed in. And when they meet Luffy, something shifts. His laughter, his unshakable belief in dreams, his refusal to bow to anyone, it awakens something in them. It reminds them of who they were meant to be. And that's when they take their place among the Straw Hats. But joining the crew isn't just about sharing a ship. It's about sharing a destiny. Every new member who steps onto the deck of the Going Merry accepts the dangers that come with the Straw Hat flag. They know that enemies will target them, that the Marines will hunt them, and that the world itself will try to break them. Yet they choose to stay, not because it's easy, not because it's safe, but because, for the first time in their lives, they've found people who believe in them. People who will fight for them, cry for them, and never abandon them. That is the power of the Straw Hat Crew, not just strength, but loyalty beyond measure, and as new members join, the bonds between the existing crew will also be tested. Every new face means new conflicts, new clashes of personality, and new moments of growth. Because being a family doesn't mean always agreeing. It means fighting, reconciling, and coming out stronger. The Straw Hats will argue, they will doubt, and they will struggle to understand each other. But when the storm hits, when the enemy strikes, they will stand as one. And that unity is what makes them unstoppable. Season 2 doesn't just give us new fighters, it gives us new dreamers, each with a role that fits perfectly into Luffy's impossible puzzle. Because the Pirate King isn't just the strongest man on the seas, he's the one who carries the strongest crew. And every step the Straw Hats take with their new members brings them closer to that destiny. So, when you see these new faces for the first time, remember that they're more than characters. They're pieces of a legend in the making. They are voices that will echo through battles, hands that will pull the crew from the brink of despair, and hearts that will beat in rhythm with the Straw Hat flag. And as the Going Merry cuts across the Grand Line, these new crewmates will remind us why One Piece has always been more than just a story about pirates. It's a story about family, a family that keeps growing, no matter how rough the seas become. Every great adventure needs great enemies. And in the Grand Line, villains aren't just obstacles, they are storms that can sink entire crews, names that spread like fire across the seas, and shadows that haunt even the bravest. Pirates. If Season 1 introduced us to threats that tested the Straw Hats' willpower, then Season 2 unleashes foes of a completely different scale. These aren't small-time bandits or petty tyrants. These are legends in the making, powerful figures, whose ambitions and cruelty will shake the very core of Luffy's crew. The Grand Line is a sea where dreams clash violently. Every pirate sails under a flag of hope, but not every dream is pure. Some seek freedom, some seek power, some seek destruction. And it's in Season 2 where we see how terrifying those twisted dreams can become. The villains here are just enemies with strong fists. They are living nightmares, each one carrying an aura that makes even hardened sailors tremble. One of the most fascinating things about One Piece is that its villains are never one-dimensional. They're not evil simply for the sake of being evil. They have pasts, desires, and twisted versions of justice that make them dangerous in ways that go beyond brute force. Season 2 will remind us that not all monsters are born, some are created by the cruelty of the world itself. These new antagonists will show us sides of piracy, politics, and power that the Straw Hats have never encountered before. And while their presence terrifies, it also makes the world feel richer, more alive, and more unpredictable. What makes these villains so compelling is how they mirror the Straw Hats in certain ways. Luffy dreams of freedom, of becoming the pirate king, of living without chains. But many of his enemies dream of domination, of controlling seas, of silencing anyone who dares to defy them. Where the Straw Hats fight to protect each other, these villains exploit loyalty using betrayal and fear as their weapons. Every fight in Season 2 isn't just a battle of fists, it's a clash of ideals. A test of whose dream is stronger, whose will is unbreakable. Expect powers that push the imagination further than ever before. Strange devil fruits that bend. Reality, combat skills honed to perfection, and strategies that make the crew realize they cannot win with strength alone. These villains don't just fight, they scheme, they plan. They break their enemies down piece by piece. And in doing so, they force the Straw Hats to grow, to evolve, to find new ways of standing tall even when everything seems lost. And yet, for all their strength, the greatest weapon these villains carry is fear. Fear of failure, fear of betrayal, fear of losing the people you love most. Because that's the thing about the Grand Line. It doesn't just challenge your body, it challenges your heart. And Season 2's villains will dig deep into those vulnerabilities, exposing the doubts and weaknesses that even the Straw Hats try to hide. But here's the truth. The stronger the villains, the greater the legends born from defeating them. Every epic hero is measured by the weight of the enemies they overcome. And for the Straw Hats, Season 2's villains will become milestones on their journey, forces of nature that mark the point where the crew stops being rookies and starts being feared. What makes it even more thrilling is that these villains aren't just temporary threats. Some of them will ripple through the story for years to come. Their names, their actions, their scars will follow the Straw Hats long after the battles are over. In One Piece, enemies aren't easily forgotten. They linger, shaping the destiny of both the crew and the seas themselves. So brace yourself, because the enemies of Season 2 aren't just here to fight. They're here to break, to test, to prove that the Grand Line is not a playground, but a graveyard for those who aren't ready. They're here to remind us why only the strongest, the bravest, and the most determined can survive. And as the Straw Hats clash with these villains, one thing becomes clear: to reach their dreams, they'll have to endure storms darker and fiercer than they've ever known. Because in this season, villains aren't just roadblocks. They are destiny, and destiny is never easy to defeat.